Pokemon Go shooting, a Dota marathon death, and a Ring Fit heart attack. These are 10 gamers that died playing video games. Number 10, Pokemon Go shooting. Pokemon Go was one of the many offerings that changed how we played and enjoyed games. The game allowed players to hunt Pokemons in the real world. The only problem was that it got a lot of players in trouble. Worse, death. The first ever death recorded with the game was with teenage cousins Daniel and Jerson, aged 17 and 18 respectively. The duo was hunting for the virtual creatures in Chimula when they found a rare Pokemon on a nearby property. It was impossible to catch the beast from the street, so the only way was to make their way into the house. Now, the normal thing to do if you want to get into someone's house is to knock and ask sweetly. However, the boys wanted to be sneaky and broke in instead. The house owner was terrified to find strangers breaking into their property, so they opened fire on the boys. Jerson died on the spot, while Daniel was badly wounded and bleeding. Number 9, Dota marathon death. In 2015, a boy of 17 years stayed up for 22 days playing online computer games. The teenager had suffered a broken leg earlier and had to stay at home to rest and heal. But he got bored quickly and decided to pass the time playing video games. The boy, called Rustum, would only stop the game, Defense of the Ancients, briefly to eat and take a nap. When investigators got on the case, they found that he had spent over 2,000 hours on the game in only 18 months. Rustum was found dead in the town of Ukali in the Republic of Bashkortostan, southern Russia territory. According to his parents, he played the game roughly 6 to 7 hours daily and could often be heard reacting to the game and pounding on his table and keyboard. On the 30th of August, the house was silent. No pounding or noise was coming from his room. Upon checking him, they found him unconscious. After rushing him to the hospital, he was pronounced dead. Doctors suggest that Rustum died from thrombosis, a second-class syndrome. This happens when people stay in the same place for a long time without moving to improve blood flow. Number 8, Ring Fit heart attack. In May 2022, an 18-year-old boy from Tianjin collapsed and died. He was found playing a sports game on Nintendo Switch, Ring Fit Adventure. His death happened at the Hung Lok House in Hung Phuk Estate at around 2:32 p.m. when the mother, who identified him by the family name Lee, called for emergency services. Paramedics and police arrived at the location and confirmed that the teen had passed. Further inquiry revealed that he was a university student with no previous health records. He was also playing a video game that encouraged players to move around and exercise. He'd been playing the game all morning until his mother returned home and found him unconscious. Police found that Lee's leg was still connected to the controller of the fitness ring. He had sustained head injuries, with blood oozing from his ears and nose. After some investigation, the police suggested that the teenager may have slipped and fallen while playing. They found no trace of suspicion. An autopsy is yet to back this up. If you think these were scary, things are about to get scarier. Keep watching to see what's next. Number 7, Wii Fit death. Tim Eves was trying to live a healthy life when he died, but it wasn't that part that killed him. It was taking things too far. Tim was fit and healthy with no health problems to worry about. He even worked in the labor industry before, so he was as fit as could be. Due to his love for staying in shape, he loved the Wii Fit on the Wii Nintendo system. The game is all about moving around and trying to score on screen by making some moves. While playing, there were signs that he might be taking things too far, but Tim ignored it because he wanted to beat his high score. He did, but he collapsed afterwards and died. Reports suggest he suffered a stroke. Number 6, Diablo 3 collapse. In southern Taiwan, a teenager was found dead at an internet cafe after playing online video games more than 40 hours without a break. The boy, who was 18 years old at the time and a native of the country, was a big fan of the game Diablo 3. Workers at the cafe said he came in and started a marathon session. For the next 2 days, he neither ate nor left his position in front of the monitor. The boy, who was later identified as Chuang, was found by one of the workers who entered the cafe and found him with his head on the table. He was still alive at the time and was merely sleeping. After waking him up, Chuang got up from the chair and started to walk out of the cafe, but he stopped and collapsed on the ground. He was quickly taken to a nearby hospital where the doctors confirmed his death. Police looked into the case and an autopsy was allowed. They suggest that Chuang died from cardiovascular problems from sitting in the same spot for long hours. Number 5, World of Tanks heart attack. Brian Vignault had the noblest intention before he met his end in 2017. The gamer known as Poshibrid from Virginia Beach was playing World of Tanks for close to 24 hours. Brian undertook this task to help raise money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, a charity that helped to fulfill the wishes of kids with conditions that could end their lives. So compared to everyone else on this list, Brian had good intentions. However, when he took a quick break to smoke a little, he met his end through a massive heart attack. He died soon afterward. When the news went out, a friend told reporters that Brian wanted the charity to succeed a lot and that he didn't sleep for more than 22 hours, while also drinking Red Bull and other energy drinks to keep from falling asleep. Number 4. Online game stroke. Pirat Hurricane, a 17-year-old from Thailand, suffered a stroke while playing online games in his computer. He died on the spot. The teenager was addicted to online video games and had the perfect opportunity to play non-stop due to the school holidays. He barely left his room, instead playing multiplayer battle games on his PC. Medics pronounced the teenager had died from a stroke, suggesting it had to do with how much computer games he played all night. Pirat was found slumped over in a chair by Day, who said he tried to wake up his son to no avail. He tried calling his name several times and even shook the boy, but there was no response. It was clear that Piawat had passed. The father went on to tell reporters about how obsessed his son with the computer games. He mentioned that the boy didn't sleep at night because of games and would not open the curtains in daytime either. Piawat's father said his son was smart and got good grades at school. However, he had problems with how many games he played. Despite lots of warnings from family members, Piawat was stubborn and still played for long hours, always promising to do better each time he was warned. Starting now, things get even scarier. Keep watching until the end. Number 3. Sims heart failure. In 2005, a 28-year-old man called Lee died at an internet cafe in Daegu, a southeastern city in South Korea, after playing an online battle simulation. Lee got to the cafe and got a computer to play on the 3rd of August. From then, he stayed at the cafe for 3 days, only leaving his game briefly to visit the loo and take a nap on a small bed he'd constructed. When the Daegu Police Department was called to investigate, they suggested that Lee had died from heart failure caused by stress and tiredness. According to workers at the internet cafe and some former colleagues, the 28-year-old has recently left his job to spend more time on his favorite game. When he didn't show up home after the first day, his mother called his colleagues to help find him. Upon meeting him at the cafe, Lee said he'd round up and go with him. However, minutes later, he was dead. Number 2. Berserk cardiac arrest. Jeff Daly and Peter Burkowski were friends and gamers. In the history of video game-related death, they were the first to die from playing games. The duo was a huge fan of Berserk, an arcade game that was popular decades ago. They often liked to beat their previous high score and spent many hours on the game. To do this, they often had to replay the game over and over. You start by putting a quarter into the machine to play. Jeff was able to reach 16,600 points as his high score before he collapsed from a heart attack and died on the spot. He was only 19 at the time. A year later, Pete died in the same way after trying to best his score in Friar Tuck's. He kept pushing himself until he got a cardiac arrest in Calumet City, Illinois, and died. Number 1. Player Unknown's Battleground. A 12-year-old from Egypt died of a sudden heart attack when playing video games for several hours. The news, which quickly spread around the nation, said the boy was a game addict who was known to play PUBG for long hours with no breaks. Reports suggest that the schoolboy was found by his parents when they checked and found him unconscious, with the game still running on his phone. At first, they thought he was asleep and had just forgotten to put his phone away. However, after trying to wake him, they found he was unresponsive. They called an ambulance and rushed him to Al Salam Hospital quickly, but he was pronounced dead at the hospital. Upon further examination, the coroner revealed that the child had died of cardiac arrest caused by high blood pressure and obesity. Enjoyed the video? Now watch this one.